Welcome back to the English Hour. Today, we have a really thought-provoking topic for you. We're diving into the world of AI and discussing a question that's been on many people's minds lately: will AI replace humans in the workforce and beyond? I'm joined today by Jacob, who's going to help us explore this issue from multiple angles. Jacob, welcome back.
Thanks, Sophia. It's great to be here. This is such a timely and important topic, and I'm really excited to dive into it with you.
Same here. So, let's jump right into it. We hear a lot of talk about AI replacing jobs, especially in fields like manufacturing, customer service, and even more creative sectors like writing and design. Do you think AI will eventually replace humans in the workforce?
Well, it's a tricky question. On one hand, AI is definitely improving at a rapid pace, and there are certain tasks, especially repetitive ones, that it can perform more efficiently than humans. For example, in manufacturing, robots and automation have already taken over many jobs that were once done by people. But on the other hand, there are aspects of work that require emotional intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking, which AI still struggles to replicate.
Right. So AI is definitely good at doing specific tasks, but when it comes to tasks that require human touch, like empathy or nuanced decision-making, AI still has a long way to go.
Exactly. Take healthcare, for example. While AI can assist doctors with diagnostic tools or analyze medical data, the human connection, the empathy, and the ability to understand a patient's emotional needs, that's something that's difficult for AI to replace. Humans are just better at reading social cues, understanding context, and responding with empathy.
That's a really good point. So, would you say that instead of completely replacing humans, AI is more likely to work alongside us, enhancing our abilities rather than taking over entirely?
Yes, that's exactly what I think. I believe AI will enhance human capabilities, making certain tasks easier and more efficient, but it will also create new opportunities for people to focus on higher level, creative, and strategic tasks. We're already seeing that in industries like healthcare, where AI helps doctors make better decisions by analyzing vast amounts of data, but the final decision and patient care still rely on the human element.
So, you're saying that AI will help us be better at what we do, rather than replacing us entirely. That's a really optimistic perspective.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to recognize that every major technological advancement in history has caused a shift in the workforce. We've seen this before with the Industrial Revolution, when machines took over many manual jobs. But that shift also created new jobs and industries that didn't exist before. I think AI will follow a similar pattern, automating some jobs, but also creating new opportunities that we can't even imagine yet.
That's a comforting thought, especially for people who are worried about job loss due to AI. But it also raises another question. As AI continues to advance, do you think there will be a need for humans to develop new skills to stay relevant in the workforce?
Absolutely. The key to surviving in an AI-driven world is adaptability. We will need to continuously learn new skills and be open to change. For example, as AI takes over routine tasks, people will need to focus more on skills that are uniquely human, like creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence, and interpersonal communication. AI can't replace these human qualities, and they're exactly what will set us apart in the future workforce.
That's a great point. So, what you're saying is that rather than fearing AI, we should focus on developing skills that complement AI and make us irreplaceable in the areas where AI can't compete.
Exactly. We need to shift our focus from worrying about job replacement to thinking about how we can use AI to our advantage. It's about staying ahead of the curve, learning new technologies, and finding ways to collaborate with AI, rather than viewing it as a threat.
That's such an empowering mindset. I think a lot of people fear AI because they see it as a threat to their livelihood. But the more we understand how AI can assist us and where our human strengths lie, the more we can embrace it as a tool to help us evolve.
Exactly. And let's not forget that AI is still in its infancy. While it's growing quickly, we still have time to adapt and shape the way it's used. It's not a matter of AI taking over, it's a matter of how we integrate AI into our lives in a way that enhances our work, our creativity, and our relationships.
That's a powerful way to look at it. So, Jacob, do you think there are industries that will be more affected by AI than others? And if so, what can those in those industries do to adapt?
That's a good question. I think industries like transportation, customer service, and manufacturing will see more disruption from AI, especially in terms of automation. For example, self-driving cars and trucks could significantly impact the transportation industry, while chatbots and AI-driven customer service platforms are already replacing human agents in many businesses.
That's true. But for those working in these industries, is it too late to make a shift? Or can they still pivot and stay relevant?
It's never too late. I think the key is to focus on skills that AI can't easily replicate. For instance, in transportation, while self-driving cars may take over certain jobs, there will still be a need for human oversight, management, and strategic decision-making. In customer service, AI can handle basic inquiries, but people with strong emotional intelligence and conflict resolution skills will always be needed for complex situations.
That makes sense. So, the message here is that rather than viewing AI as a job killer, it's important to see it as a tool that will shift the nature of work. People can still find ways to thrive by developing skills that work in harmony with AI.
Exactly, it's all about evolving, adapting, and staying open to new possibilities. The future isn't about humans vs. AI, it's about humans and AI working together to create something even greater.
I love that. So, what do you think about the ethical implications of AI? As AI gets more advanced, it raises questions about privacy, security, and control. How do we balance innovation with responsibility?
That's a critical point. As AI becomes more powerful, we need to make sure it's developed and used responsibly. Issues like data privacy, security, and algorithmic bias need to be addressed to ensure that AI benefits everyone, not just a select few. It's also important to have clear regulations and guidelines to ensure that AI is used ethically without causing harm to individuals or society as a whole.
So, as much as AI can drive innovation and progress, we also need strong safeguards in place to make sure it's used in ways that are fair and transparent.
Absolutely. Innovation shouldn't come at the cost of human rights or fairness. We need to make sure that as we develop these powerful tools, we're doing so in a way that protects the values that make us human, like equality and justice.
That's a really important point. It's not just about what AI can do, but about how we choose to use it responsibly. Right, Jacob? I think this balance between innovation and responsibility will be key in how society adapts to the AI-driven future. Now, going back to the question of whether AI will ever fully replace humans, do you think there are certain jobs or roles that will be completely taken over by AI in the near future?
It's possible that in some areas, AI could completely replace certain jobs, especially those that involve repetitive tasks or data processing. For instance, jobs in manufacturing, data entry, or even some aspects of accounting might be fully automated. However, jobs that require human judgment, creativity, or emotional intelligence will be harder to replace. AI might assist in those areas, but I don't think it will fully take over.
So, what you're saying is that AI will most likely target jobs that don't require a high level of emotional or creative input, right?
Exactly. Tasks like routine data analysis, sorting, or anything that involves pattern recognition are areas where AI excels. But for jobs that involve more subjective decision making, strategic thinking, or personal interactions, humans will still be necessary. For example, in education, AI can help personalize learning experiences for students, but teachers will always be needed to provide that human connection and guidance.
That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned earlier that new jobs would likely be created as AI takes over others. What kind of jobs do you think might emerge in an AI-dominant world?
Well, we're already seeing new fields emerging in AI development, such as machine learning engineers, data scientists, and AI ethicists. As AI becomes more integrated into society, There will also be a growing need for roles focused on managing AI systems, ensuring they are used ethically, and analyzing how AI impacts different industries. Additionally, creative fields will likely see new roles that combine human creativity with AI tools like AI-assisted designers or artists. The key is to identify how AI can complement human skills and build on that.
That's an exciting prospect. So, in the future, it seems like people will be working alongside AI more than ever before. We'll need to learn how to collaborate with these systems, not just fear them. Do you think schools and universities are doing enough to prepare students for this future?
Some schools and universities are making strides in incorporating AI and technology into their curriculums, but there's still a lot of work to be done. As AI continues to evolve, education systems will need to evolve with it. Students should not only be learning how to work with AI tools, but also how to think critically about the ethical and societal implications of these technologies. I think courses focused on AI literacy, coding, and ethics will become more common as we move forward.
It sounds like the future workforce will need to be much more tech savvy, adaptable, and ethical than ever before. The skills people will need to focus on include coding, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and ethical decision making, right?
Absolutely. The best way to prepare for the future is to keep learning and developing these essential skills. AI is a tool, and how we use that tool will determine whether it's a force for good or a source of division. People will need to become lifelong learners, adapting to new technologies while also keeping human values at the core of everything they do.
I completely agree. So, Jacob, if someone is currently in a job that might be at risk of being automated by AI, what advice would you give them?
First and foremost, I'd say don't panic. It's important to start thinking about how you can adapt. If your job involves repetitive or manual tasks, you might want to start looking into areas that require more creative or critical thinking. Upskilling and reskilling are essential, so focus on learning new technologies and gaining skills that AI can't replicate. Emphasize emotional intelligence, problem solving, and adaptability. And lastly, stay informed. AI is evolving quickly, and understanding its impact on your industry will give you a leg up.
That's really helpful advice. It seems like a key takeaway is that we shouldn't view AI as a threat, but rather as an opportunity for growth. Embracing change and focusing on areas where we, as humans, excel will help us thrive in an AI-driven future.
Exactly. The key is to stay ahead of the curve. Think about it, every new technology has disrupted the workforce in the past, but those who were proactive in adapting to the changes ended up thriving. AI is no different. If we focus on learning and evolving with it, we can create new opportunities for ourselves and future generations.
That's a hopeful perspective, and I think it's something we all need to keep in mind. AI may be a powerful tool, but it's up to us to guide its development and integration into our lives in ways that improve society as a whole.
Absolutely. As long as we approach it with curiosity, ethics, and a willingness to adapt, I believe AI can be a positive force in the world.
Well said, Jacob. This conversation has been incredibly enlightening, and I'm sure our listeners are walking away with a lot to think about. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
It's been a pleasure, Sophia. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to this episode of the English Hour. We hope you found this discussion on AI and its impact on the future of work thought-provoking. As always, stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the changes that come with the future. So, Jacob, as we continue exploring this topic, what do you think are the most significant challenges society will face as AI becomes more integrated into daily life?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is ensuring that AI does not exacerbate existing social inequalities. For example, there's a real risk that certain groups of people could be left behind if they don't have access to the skills or resources needed to keep up with technological advancements. We also need to consider how automation will affect low-income workers who rely on jobs that could be automated. Society will need to address these issues through policies like universal basic income or upskilling programs.
That's an important point. As we've discussed, some jobs will be replaced, but others will be created. However, there's a danger that those without the necessary skills may find themselves unable to adapt. How can governments and organizations help bridge this gap?
Governments and organizations will need to take a proactive role in ensuring that workers are supported during this transition. For instance, offering free or affordable retraining programs, particularly in areas like AI, data science, and technology, will be crucial. Additionally, there should be stronger social safety nets to protect people who are displaced by AI. This could include financial support, career counseling, and access to new job opportunities.
It's clear that we need to focus not just on the advancements that AI brings, but also on the human side of things. How can we ensure that everyone benefits from these changes, not just a select few?
Exactly. AI's potential to improve lives is immense, but without intentional effort, it could also widen the gap between the wealthy and the poor. By investing in education, equal access to resources, and policies that promote fairness, we can ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits society as a whole.
It's a complex issue, for sure. But on the flip side, are there any positive societal impacts that you see emerging from AI's growth, apart from the economic benefits?
Definitely. One of the most exciting possibilities is AI's potential to tackle big global problems like climate change. AI can help us analyze vast amounts of data to identify patterns and solutions that we wouldn't be able to see otherwise. It can also be used in healthcare to improve diagnostics, drug development, and personalized treatment plans. The possibilities are really endless when you think about how AI could be applied to solving some of humanity's most pressing challenges.
That's an inspiring thought. AI could be a powerful tool for good if used in the right way. I also think AI could enhance creative industries in unexpected ways, helping artists, writers, and musicians push the boundaries of their work. For example, AI-driven tools could aid in generating ideas, streamlining the creative process, or even creating entirely new forms of art. Do you see this as a positive or a negative?
I think it's a positive if we view AI as a tool that enhances human creativity rather than replacing it. The technology could enable artists to explore new avenues, automate tedious tasks, and focus more on the creative process. For instance, in music, AI could help composers generate new melodies or rhythms, giving them a jumping-off point for further exploration. Similarly, in writing, AI can assist with generating ideas or plot lines, sparking new inspiration for writers. The key is to use AI as a partner in creativity, not as a substitute for human talent.
That makes a lot of sense. AI can be a great collaborator, allowing people to push their creative boundaries even further. It's fascinating to think about the symbiosis between human imagination and AI innovation. But do you think there's a risk that AI could, in some cases, overshadow or devalue human creativity?
There's always that risk, especially as AI gets better at mimicking human behavior and creativity. The challenge will be maintaining the value of authentic human expression while incorporating AI into the creative process. As long as we recognize the importance of human creativity and ensure that AI is used to complement, not replace human input, I think we'll be able to strike the right balance. People will always crave that human touch in art, whether it's music, painting, or writing.
Absolutely. AI might be able to generate ideas and assist with technical tasks, but it can't replicate the emotions, experiences, and unique perspectives that humans bring to their work. Those are qualities that will always make human creativity special. So, Jacob, as we approach the end of this discussion, what do you think the future holds for AI in terms of ethical considerations? Will there be global agreements or regulations to ensure AI is developed responsibly?
I think we're already seeing the beginning of global conversations around the ethics of AI. There are many organizations, governments, and academic institutions working on creating frameworks and guidelines for the responsible development and deployment of AI. However, it's still early days. There will need to be international collaboration to establish standards and regulations to ensure AI is used ethically and transparently. As AI becomes more powerful, the need for strong oversight will only grow.
It seems like we're heading toward a future where regulation and collaboration will play a crucial role in AI's integration into society. But ultimately, we, as individuals and communities, will also have to be vigilant and conscious of the ethical implications of the technology we create and use.
Absolutely. AI isn't something that will just evolve on its own. It will be shaped by our decisions, our policies, and our values. The more we engage in thoughtful discussions like this, the better prepared we'll be to ensure that AI serves humanity in the best possible way.
It's been such a thought-provoking conversation, Jacob. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on the future of AI and its impact on our world.
It's been a pleasure, Sophia. Thanks for having me on, and I'm glad we could dive into such an important topic.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to the English Hour. We hope this discussion about AI and its future has given you plenty to think about. As always, keep learning, stay curious, and remember the future is in our hands. So, Jacob, as we reflect on this, I'm curious, what do you think is the best way for individuals to prepare for the rise of AI in their personal and professional lives? Should they be focusing on certain skills or mindsets?
That's a great question. I think the first thing is to stay adaptable. The world is changing rapidly, and we all need to be comfortable with change. Beyond that, focusing on skills that are complementary to AI like creativity, emotional intelligence, and problem solving will be essential. While AI can do a lot of things, it can't replicate the way humans can think outside the box or understand the emotional nuances of a situation. So, investing in skills that AI can't easily replace will be a good strategy.
That's really insightful. Focusing on creativity and emotional intelligence will definitely help people stand out. But what about the technical side? Should everyone be learning about AI, machine learning, or programming?
It wouldn't hurt for people to get familiar with the basics, especially in fields like machine learning and data analysis. Even a foundational understanding of AI and technology can help individuals make more informed decisions about their careers and personal development. That said, you don't have to become a data scientist or programmer to be successful. But understanding the basics, perhaps through online courses or workshops, can give you a solid foundation.
That sounds reasonable. And as AI becomes more embedded in industries, it's important for everyone, whether you're a teacher, artist, or entrepreneur, to have that understanding of how it works and how it could impact your field. Do you think there will be more resources available for the general public to learn these skills, or will it remain a niche area for tech experts?
I believe there will be a growing movement toward making AI and related fields more accessible. Many companies, universities, and online platforms are already offering free or affordable courses that demystify AI and teach the basics. As AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, there will likely be a push for public education initiatives to ensure that everyone, regardless of their background, has access to the skills they need to thrive in an AI-driven world. The key will be making these resources easy to understand and practical, so they're useful to people in all walks of life.
That's exciting. A more inclusive approach to AI education would definitely help more people navigate this new world confidently. I also think it would foster innovation and collaboration, since more people would be able to contribute their perspectives and ideas. But, Jacob, what about the ethical side of AI? As we teach more people about it, how do we make sure the technology is being developed in a way that aligns with ethical standards?
That's a really important point. As AI becomes more widespread, the ethical implications of its development and use will become even more pressing. One thing I think is crucial is teaching not just the technical aspects of AI, but also the ethical considerations. There should be a strong emphasis on fairness, accountability, and transparency in the development of AI systems. Institutions should also involve ethicists, philosophers, and social scientists in the conversation to ensure that the technology is being created with a broad understanding of its impact.
That's a very balanced perspective. I believe that AI development shouldn't only be in the hands of the tech industry, but should involve a cross-disciplinary approach to ensure that it benefits everyone. What are your thoughts on how AI might be regulated globally? Is there a need for international cooperation in AI ethics?
Absolutely. AI is a global issue, and its impact won't be confined to any one country. For that reason, international cooperation is crucial to ensure that AI is developed responsibly and used for the good of humanity. We're starting to see countries and international organizations, like the United Nations, discussing AI ethics and regulation, but it's still in its early stages. There will need to be global agreements on things like privacy, data protection, and the ethical use of AI in decision-making. I believe that by collaborating and creating shared standards, we can make sure that AI doesn't inadvertently harm society or worsen existing inequalities.
Yes, creating a framework that ensures fairness and equity in the development of AI will be critical. If we're not careful, the technology could exacerbate problems like discrimination or privacy violations. But if we approach it thoughtfully and collectively, there's a real opportunity to shape AI into a force for positive change.
Exactly. That's why discussions like this one are so important. By raising awareness, sharing ideas, and engaging with these topics early on, we can make sure that AI serves humanity in the best possible way. It's all about being proactive rather than reactive. The more we learn, the more we can contribute to shaping AI's future.
I completely agree. AI will undoubtedly change the world in many ways, but as we've talked about, it's up to us to guide that change and ensure it's used ethically and responsibly. Thank you so much for all your insights today, Jacob. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have, too.
It's been a pleasure, Sophia. I'm glad we had this opportunity to discuss such an important topic. Thank you for having me on, and I hope it sparks more conversations and thoughts about the future of AI.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone who's listening to the English Hour. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and gained some valuable perspectives on AI and its potential. As always, we encourage you to keep learning, stay curious, and think critically about the world around you. So, Jacob, with all this talk about AI and its future impact, how do you think the average person can stay ahead of the curve when it comes to understanding technology? Should they be consuming more news or perhaps engaging in specific communities to stay updated?
Great question, Sophia. I think staying ahead of the curve doesn't necessarily require a deep dive into the technicalities of AI. It's more about keeping up with trends and understanding how these technologies are being applied in everyday life. Reading tech blogs, following thought leaders on social media, and engaging with online communities like Reddit or tech forums can be really helpful. But it's also important to be critical of the information you consume. Don't just accept everything at face value. Try to understand the broader context of technological developments and how they'll affect you and society at large.
That's a great point. It's not just about staying informed, but also developing the ability to critically evaluate what's out there. With the rise of misinformation, how can people make sure they're getting accurate information about AI?
Misinformation is definitely a problem, and with AI being such a complex topic, it can be hard to navigate through the noise. One strategy is to rely on reputable sources like universities, well-known tech companies, or respected media outlets. Another tip is to follow experts in the field who are transparent about their work and have a track record of providing accurate, balanced perspectives. People should also be aware of clickbait or sensational headlines that tend to exaggerate the capabilities of AI.
Absolutely. It's essential to approach AI news with a healthy dose of skepticism and look for credible sources. But what about the fear of AI taking over jobs? A lot of people are worried about losing their livelihoods because of automation. Do you think there's a real threat, or are people overreacting?
I think it's a bit of both. Yes, certain jobs will definitely be replaced or heavily altered by AI, especially in industries like manufacturing or data entry. But rather than seeing it as a loss, We should view it as an opportunity for people to transition into more meaningful work jobs that require human skills like creativity, empathy, and complex problem solving. It's important for society to invest in retraining programs and provide support to those whose jobs are displaced. So, the fear of job loss is valid, but there's also a lot of potential for new kinds of employment that didn't exist before.
That's a hopeful perspective. Instead of fearing change, we should look for ways to evolve alongside it and find new opportunities. What kinds of new roles do you think will emerge as a result of AI?
I believe there will be a huge demand for roles in AI ethics and regulation. As AI systems become more integrated into society, there will need to be people who can oversee their use and ensure they're being applied responsibly. Other fields will include AI training and supervision, where people are needed to oversee machine learning models and make sure they're functioning correctly. Creative industries will also see growth as AI can assist with tasks like video editing, graphic design, and music production. There will be new opportunities for people to work alongside AI, using their unique human skills in ways that complement the technology.
Those are all fascinating insights. I think many people are still adjusting to the idea that AI isn't necessarily a competitor, but a tool that can enhance what we already do. Do you think AI will eventually reach a point where it can fully replace human creativity, or will there always be something uniquely human about it?
I believe there will always be something uniquely human about creativity. While AI can certainly assist with creative processes, like generating ideas or helping with tasks like writing or composing music, I don't think it will ever fully replace human creativity. Creativity is deeply tied to emotions, experiences, and context, all things that AI lacks in the same way humans experience them. AI can be a great tool for enhancing creativity, but I think the spark of true innovation and artistic expression will always come from humans.
I completely agree. AI can help us with the technical aspects of creation, but the heart and soul of creativity remain with us. It's like having a powerful assistant, but the vision and direction come from the individual. So, Jacob, as we look toward the future, what's your take on how AI will impact society in the next 10 to 20 years?
In the next couple of decades, I think we'll see AI continue to revolutionize industries across the board. Healthcare will benefit from AI in diagnosing diseases, personalizing treatment, and improving patient care. Transportation could become safer and more efficient with autonomous vehicles. The job market will shift, as we've discussed, but people will likely find new opportunities to work alongside AI. I also think that AI will be a major driver of social change, influencing everything from education to how we interact with one another. Of course, these changes will come with challenges, but I think if we approach them with caution, responsibility, and empathy, we can make sure the benefits outweigh the risks.
Wow, the possibilities are definitely exciting. It's clear that AI will play a huge role in shaping the future. But it's also up to us to ensure that it's used wisely. Thank you so much for your thoughtful insights today, Jacob. I think this conversation is really important, and I'm glad we got to dive deep into it.
Thank you, Sophia. It's been a pleasure discussing this topic with you. I'm hopeful for the future and excited to see how AI evolves in a way that benefits everyone. I'm sure we'll continue to have these kinds of conversations as technology progresses.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening to the English Hour, thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this discussion insightful and thought-provoking. As always, we encourage you to keep learning and stay curious about the world around you. Jacob, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to explore a potential concern that a lot of people have: AI becoming too powerful and making decisions that could harm humanity. We hear a lot of talk about AI potentially having its own goals, not aligned with human interests. Do you think this is a real concern?
It's definitely a topic of concern, and I think it's something we should keep in mind as we develop AI. The idea of an AI becoming so advanced that it operates outside of human control is a valid fear, but it's important to note that we're nowhere near that level of sophistication The AI we have today is incredibly powerful, but still narrowly focused. It's designed for specific tasks and can't think or reason in the same way humans do. That being said, we should approach AI development with caution and be sure to build systems that are aligned with human values. There are ongoing discussions in the AI community about how to ensure the safety of these systems, and many researchers are working on frameworks for responsible AI.
So, it's not about fearing AI, but making sure we're responsible in how we develop and deploy it. I think that's a reassuring way to look at AI. Like any tool, can be extremely beneficial if used properly. What about the role of government and regulation? Do you think there needs to be stronger regulation when it comes to AI?
Absolutely. AI regulation is crucial to ensuring that it's used ethically and responsibly. Governments need to step in to create clear rules and standards for AI development, especially in areas like privacy, security, and fairness. Without regulation, there's a risk that AI could be exploited for harmful purposes, or that it could exacerbate existing social inequalities. There's also the challenge of making sure AI doesn't perpetuate bias, which is why transparency in how these systems work is so important. But regulation needs to strike a balance. It should ensure safety and fairness without stifling innovation. It's a fine line to walk.
It sounds like the challenge is finding the right balance between innovation and regulation. On the one hand, we want to encourage progress, but on the other, we don't want to let things get out of hand. Do you think AI will eventually be able to regulate itself? Could there be a future where AI takes over the task of managing other AI systems?
That's an interesting thought. In theory, it's possible that AI could help regulate other AI systems, but I think we'd still need human oversight for quite some time. AI could be very useful in monitoring and flagging potential risks, especially when it comes to identifying patterns that humans might miss, but human judgment will always be necessary to make final decisions. I believe that even in a future where AI plays a large role in regulating systems, there will always be a need for humans to step in and provide ethical and moral guidance. AI might have the capacity to detect errors or biases, but humans will have the responsibility of deciding what's best for society.
It's almost like a partnership, where AI assists humans in making decisions, but the ultimate responsibility still lies with us. It makes me wonder, do you think there will ever be a point where we can trust AI to make life or death decisions, like in healthcare or autonomous vehicles?
That's one of the most complex and debated areas of AI right now. In certain situations, AI has the potential to make decisions faster and more accurately than humans, especially in areas like healthcare, where it can process vast amounts of data and identify patterns that might take a human years to recognize. But the question of trust is huge. People need to feel confident that AI is making decisions based on ethical principles and that it's been designed to minimize harm. In healthcare, for example, AI could help doctors make better diagnostic decisions, but I don't think we're at a point where we'd want AI to make life or death choices without human input. There needs to be accountability, and humans will always need to be a part of that equation.
I agree. There's a lot of potential, but I think we're still a long way from trusting AI to make such crucial decisions without human involvement. It'll be interesting to see how these conversations evolve as AI technology advances. And speaking of evolution, do you think that, in the future, AI could become so advanced that it might develop a kind of consciousness? Is that even possible?
That's a big philosophical question, and honestly, no one really knows the answer. Some people believe that AI could one day develop consciousness, but I'm a bit more skeptical. Right now, AI is incredibly good at simulating human-like behavior, but that's not the same as true consciousness. Consciousness involves awareness, subjective experience, and a sense of self, things that are deeply tied to biology. While AI can process information and make decisions based on that information, it doesn't have feelings, desires, or intentions. It's just an incredibly complex set of algorithms. I think we're a long way from AI developing consciousness, if it's even possible at all.
That's a comforting thought for some. but also a bit of a mystery, right? The idea of whether machines could ever be truly conscious or self-aware opens up so many questions about the nature of life itself. It's almost like AI raises philosophical issues that we haven't even fully explored yet. What do you think, Jacob? How should we be preparing for a future where AI is integrated into all aspects of our lives, even if it doesn't develop consciousness?
I think the key to preparing for that future is education and open dialogue. We need to teach people how AI works, how it can help them, and how they can use it responsibly. We also need to make sure that we're addressing potential negative consequences like the risk of widening social inequality or exacerbating biases in AI systems. By being proactive and staying engaged, we can ensure that AI evolves in a way that benefits everyone. It's not just about technology, it's about creating a future where humans and machines can work together in harmony.
That's a hopeful outlook, Jacob. If we can stay engaged and ensure that AI is used for the common good, I believe we can navigate the challenges ahead. It's all about how we decide to shape the future, isn't it?
Exactly. It's up to us to decide how AI fits into our world. And as long as we remain thoughtful, responsible, and aware of the potential risks, we can use AI to enhance our lives rather than let it take control.
And that's a wrap for today's conversation on AI and its role in our future. Thank you so much, Jacob, for sharing your insights. It's been a thought-provoking discussion, and I'm sure our listeners will have plenty to think about. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour. We'll be back with more fascinating conversations. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.